oriented junglers. The priority of the Jarvan definitely rising up for him.
And as we get towards the first pick here for Origen, the question is, what is worthy of that first selection? Is there something that's so easy to blind here? Karma does spring straight to mind, and with the Gragas ban finally from Fnatic.
I wonder. It looks like they're just going to keep it stock standard. They're going to go with the Azir. No real surprises, especially given that the Corki is gone. Does suggest that Nemesis will have to go in a different direction. I'd be surprised if he goes to something like the Twisted Fate, given that it can struggle very early on in the matchup. However, you'd have a lot of roaming power on the champion, which Azir can often struggle to try and match.
Yeah, and roaming power, you already have it here with Fnatic. The Rakan and the Karma, a power 2v2. And honestly, we sort of expect to see that being Rekkles' Karma down in the bottom lane. That's a duo that they've gone for already so far this split.
Okay, that's how you lay a gauntlet down, isn't it? Pick the Jarvan and lock in the Draven straight away. If you take that Karma down towards the bottom lane, she is in for a world of hurt.
Now remember that Fnatic can, of course, pivot this draft. If they want to send the Karma mid or top, they can do that. So after seeing the Draven, I wonder if they will look to lock in something like the Xayah right now, give them a little bit more power in the 2 versus 2, or whether they're going to keep the ambiguity in this draft.
I do like seeing Broxah get his hands on the Elise to combat the early game pressure of this Jarvan. This is definitely two very proactive early game junglers that we're going to have to keep our eyes on, especially because whenever it is a Fnatic game, you look at their early game. They try to be so explosive, and now they're on the champions try to enable that.
And Elise is a champion that has been synonymous with Broxah for such a long time. I believe it's his second most played in the course of his career with 30 games on it. Wins 66% of those games as well, even better than his Lee Sin statistics. Now, getting into the second pick and ban phase, we remove the Morgana and the Aatrox.
The Aatrox targeted towards Bwipo. We brought that up a little bit earlier on, but the Renekton too, another one of those picks we haven't really seen apart from bans in this second rotation. Definitely one that would work for Bwipo up on the top side of the map.
It definitely could. We'll see what the final ban is here from Origen. Looking across the, the sort of general picks that we have with Corki taken away, you're wondering how Fnatic are going to answer the mid lane for this Azir, and the question is, can they find something that Nemesis is comfortable on in that matchup?
I wonder if Origen will look for something like a Renekton ban right now, something that we've seen a lot during the second phase, but they're actually going to take the Xayah off the board. We already talked about how Fnatic can shift in the draft, and it looks like the Origen are just trying to prepare for a situation like that. So they're going to take that one off the board. Fnatic now going to give an indication of what they're looking for. It looks like that it will be the Twisted Fate. So early on in this matchup, the TF will struggle. He will get pushed in, assuming that it will be the AD Twisted Fate. But once he hits 6, he's going to have a lot of global pressure that the Azir may struggle to match.
Yeah, and pair that up along the sides of an Elise, you have very strong tower diving potential. If you can get control and push over mid lane, that is a very powerful 2-man unit to just roam and collapse on either of these 2 side lanes.
And the question is which side then they're going to focus on, right? In the historical Fnatic gameplay, it's always been bot. You go towards Rekkles, but here if he's playing Karma Rakan, maybe you want to look up towards that top side instead. Origen will lock in the Kennen for Alphari. It is his second most played this split. Has yet to win on it though, has been struggling on that champion with Origen.
I wonder if we're going to see something like a Leona answer here from the side of Origen. It is something that did get buffed on this patch. It has been considered a bit of an answer into the Rakan. Very powerful bot lane. I think it enables the Draven very well. And I've been speaking to some pro supports that consider this matchup a bit of a skill matchup, but I think that one of the things they always say is the only way in which Rakan really struggles is if you're able to burst the Rakan down. If you pair it up with a Draven, that's a pretty set up burst duo that can get you some advantages bot lane.
Yeah, exactly. That hard CC into tons of damage into a big cash payout is absolutely massive.
Wow.
Bwipo's going back to this.
Have you not learned your lesson, Bwipo? Last time you played this, it was diabolically bad. We'll see if it can be better this game. I was expecting the Shen, bit of more global pressure for them, but here they've locked in the Renekton.
So the biggest...
the Rengar.
The Rengar, exactly. The biggest difference to me in this game for the top lane Rengar is that they win the jungle 2v2. The last time they played it, it was against an Olaf, which basically smashes any sort of engagement that happens around that top lane. I think the Elise is much better equipped in these fights up against the Kennen and the Jarvan.
We'll see if it can work out for Fnatic. Recently, they have had some early game woes. Broxah, some people have said he's been found out. His pathing erratic at best. Origen, on the other hand, have been on a little bit of a downward spiral. 2-loss streak at the moment. If they lose today, that extends to 3, of course. And they are looking more at staying in playoffs than making it into that top 2.
Yeah, they certainly are. This is a very important game for both these teams. A lot of teams are catching up with Origen right now. Last split, they were on a winning streak at this point in the split, and they were looking good. But right now, they are not finding that consistency. They are not able to challenge so many different teams in the league. And Origen, they want to return to their former glory. They want to make it to another final. They want to challenge G2 and cement a spot at Worlds. But they're still got to go through Fnatic. There's still a lot of regular season to go. It is Origen versus Fnatic.
And what a game it's going to be, Vedius. The first ever LEC game on Leona for Mithy. We've seen him play it once in LCS, and we know how well his time over there went. Last time these two teams met, it was Fnatic that took the win in a seesaw of a game. Before that, it was playoffs spring, where Origen beat out Fnatic in the semi-finals, but Fnatic back to the old ways, looking for level 1 action.
Yeah, already starting this one off right here. Of course, you can jump forward with the CC on Hylissang. Not quite going to be able to find out Patrik right there, but still a power move to try and maybe split this map very early on.
Looks like Fnatic are looking down towards that bottom lane, controlling the bottom side of the map. Origen will see how they answer this, because at the moment they have a 4-stack down towards this bottom jungle. Fnatic, I think they might just back away from this one, give up the ghost a little bit on this invade, but instead, they may stay around.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Origen are doing too. They were hiding outside of the jungle, now pushing back in through this bottom side. Kold has the sweeper as well, but since he's going to be at 1 minute and 30 seconds, Fnatic will know with pretty much certainty that he's going to be starting up on this red buff.
But Kold will know that they know. And so maybe he can adapt his pathing, change around the way he goes through this jungle to try and set up something good for Origen early on. Was wondering if maybe he'd go for a level 2 gank down towards that bottom lane with the power of Draven Leona, but instead goes straight up towards his blue, maybe looking towards that top side. We'll just get the double buffs. Looks like Broxah is doing the same, going blue to red.
So it looks like right now the Kold is just trying to match what Broxah is trying to do. Will do his blue into red buff. Does suggest that they could be looking for an early gank setup as Nukeduck is trying to push in mid.
Right now, Broxah going straight into that red buff, probably moves up into that Krug camp as his next option here for that fast level 3. With Rengar sacking the wave early on, obviously the range discrepancy is going to be difficult. There could be a potential gank, but good wards from Origen, both in the Tri-Brush and in that river just above mid lane to spot out if Broxah were to ever come across that river.
Mithy jumping in onto Hylissang, get some damage down. You can see Patrik with the axes can put a lot of DPS in towards the Rakan early on. And looking at some of the other lanes, as expected, Alphari in the top lane has a little bit of an advantage. It's ranged into melee. That's kind of expected from the Kennen. Built up a big wave here, and Bwipo will have to try and farm it underneath his tower.
Now, Alphari does need to be careful because he should be aware that Broxah has pathed up towards the top side, and he will walk over a ward. So now Jungler immediately answers, and now they may be able to get the counter here.
Flash in from Bwipo, lands the root. Broxah with the cocoon as well. The stun lock is good onto Alphari. He tries to flash away, but he's down, and Kold not here in time.
Excellent gank timing right there from Broxah, and Kold, his pathing was sending him down there. Broxah over the ward, it does not even matter. Now Alphari will be TPing back up into this lane. Kold has to stick around here to make sure they can fully bounce that wave.
We also see a bit of fighting in bot lane.
Hylissang locked up just a little bit. The Rakan struggling quite a bit. The Ignite actually going down. Hylissang's ticking away. One more would be enough. Has the potion ticking across. Rekkles would have a shield up in just a second as well.
So remember, the all-in power at level 3 of the Draven and Leona is very, very potent, especially against a Rakan and Karma, which is very weak early on. This means that given that they saw the jungler's top side and looking to reset, they forced an all-in, and now they're able to get a lot of pressure down in this 2 versus 2. Kold, recognizing that Broxah may be heading towards bot, immediately passed that way as well, which allows the bot lane to now look to try and reset.
And have another look at that top lane play here from Bwipo's perspective. Just flashes with the root and the cocoon comes in.
Yeah, the chain CC was beautifully set up, and Alphari was just trying to bait. He was waiting for his jungler to show up, and he just wasn't expecting that setup to come out from the side of Fnatic.
Not quite ready for it. Origen fallen one down already, 500 gold behind, and you can see Bwipo continually harassing here. And it's going to be a bit of a difficult lane for Alphari now, because if he overextends, he's just going to get caught out. Now,
we wanted to use this quick opportunity to kind of go a bird's eye view and kind of look at the jungler's pathing and options that they have available. So, Ender, you're one of our jungle experts. Talk us through this.
Well, I specifically want to look at Mithy, who's now rotated all the way from that off his reset up into this top lane. They're trying to set up a gank onto the flashless Bwipo.
The stun lock is there, and you can see the CC changes coming in. It's an easy enough gank for Origen. They get the kill as Bwipo falls, and it's all on Mithy, as you say, rotated all the way up towards this top side.
They wanted to try and punish the flashless Bwipo. We wanted to talk about all this big brain jungle pathing, and then they had to make a gank happen. But beautiful stuff from the side of Origen. They do get an answer. They deny the Rengar's ability to be able to answer, and now we get to see Broxah set up a bit of an invade.
Yeah, Broxah's coming down towards this bottom side, but a dive, highly unlikely, as Mithy is going to be coming back here by the time this wave bounces. So Patrik may have to give up a few CS, but when Mithy does get here, should be able to come back up and hit this wave.
Now, Patrik has decided to go Aftershock on the Draven here. Having that resolve tree gives you a little bit of extra tankiness, and it does mean if you use the stand aside, you can actually get a little bit of extra damage out if you're in the midst of the fray.
We do see the Drake now being started off. Broxah does have priority both bot and mid. Nemesis going to rotate down. Let's see if OG can look to fight back. Alphari, no teleport right now. Fight in the bot lane.
Hylissang's just going to jump away. The tether will land here. Destiny coming in as well. Fnatic looking for the fight down towards the bottom lane. The gold card comes out, and Fnatic find that second.
Really nice play there from Fnatic. They knew that they had the global ability, so even though this 2v2 starts in the bottom lane, Nemesis is very quickly able to react, and they can move back for Drake.
And honestly, that was a big blunder from Patrik and Mithy, because they should have recognized Nukeduck doesn't have the teleport. He cannot join that play, and Nemesis was already roaming down. So the moment that fight started, Fnatic were in a prime position to respond.
And you can see what Fnatic do as well, because Bwipo had actually fully pushed that top lane, so he roams down to pick up this full mid wave at the same time that Nemesis is trying to make that play down bottom. This way, not only are they having the numbers advantage so they can get the kill, but also they don't lose any CS4 going for that roam.
Broxah once again on form in this game. It seems his early jungle ganks have paid off for Fnatic, but I want to focus on exactly what this early game has done for these two teams. As Broxah actually caught out just a little bit, lands the cocoon. Mithy on the way up, has flash. Could look for the flash Zenith Blade. Kold still looking for the chase here. Mithy going in, but Broxah can flash the wall, and the Zenith Blade not there in time. Broxah escapes.
A lot of summoner spells used there to try and find that kill, but at the very least, they will be able to steal away some of these camps. Hylissang and Rekkles is around to try and answer, but I don't think they're going to be able to do much. As we see, Kold doesn't actually have his smite right now.
It feels like our eyes keep getting dragged across the map. We're in top lane, we're in mid, we're fighting around the dragon, but I want to just take a second to evaluate how this early game's gone for these two teams. We said we wanted to focus on the junglers. Fnatic have a 2-kill lead, but the gold's still pretty much even.
I mean, the gold's just about even. I still would say this is favorable overall for Fnatic. You know, they got that early gank up top lane, which is very, very pivotal on towards Bwipo. Of course, he did end up dying, but this will try to neutralize the lane just a little bit, and there's still no flash on Alphari, so it's a great timing.
On the hunt used there in the top lane as they try and catch on towards Alphari in the bottom lane. Mithy goes low, but Bwipo is able to land the root. Slicing Master comes out as well. Broxah just out of the range of it, and Alphari doesn't really have anywhere to go. Broxah sinking the fangs, and it's his second kill of the game.
Make sure to find that gank just before the flash comes back up, continuing to pull this on hit Kennen.
Oh, this is bad from Hylissang. One more order would have been enough. The Ignite coming out, it's ticking away, but he won't quite fall to that. Kold's on his way up.
Kold looking for a potential collapse. They can see him on the ward. He's going for the all-in. Hylissang didn't actually cancel his back. Here comes the ulti.
Hylissang flashes away, escapes to live another day, and meanwhile the rest of Origen are just pushing in that bottom lane looking for the plates.
Exactly. Patrik should be able to get a lot of money. Actually going to go ahead and find that reset there, so just will deny the CS and not overstay to try and push that wave. Rekkles also has the TP, so that ends up being a good call so we can get back for a good reset off that push.
I do love the Origen are doing what they can to try and match a lot of the early aggression that we're seeing come out from Fnatic. And this is something you talked about in the draft, and the difference for the Rengar this time around is he's paired up with an Elise rather than a Sylas, and you can see the power of the chain CC, the early game damage is so much better suited to trying to get this Rengar ahead, and so far Fnatic are finding success with it.
And a big worry we've had with Fnatic is their early game after they've come back from Rift Rivals. In the start of the split, they looked incredibly good, getting leads, getting kills, not dying that much, but look at how much they die in the last few weeks. 7 7 deaths on average at the 15-minute mark.
It's been a big problem for them because they go for these very high-impact plays, I feel, especially, the likes of Broxah and Hylissang trying to push the absolute limits on their champions. And once they fall behind, they continue to make these types of plays. So once they fall down, it continues to get worse and worse for them. But when they start off good, they continue to ride that in most of their games.
I'm really curious as to how we're going to transition now into the mid game, largely because Alphari is going for the AD Kennen build. We've been seeing this a lot more recently on the newest patch, and I feel like that when you look at this comp that we might not have time because another gank is happening topside.
Fnatic just camping top as much as possible. They're trying to set this Rengar up for success. They're trying to get the Elise ahead.
But they're also trying to put the Kennen behind. And one of the things that I feel is very strong about AD Kennen is how potent he can be on a side lane. I think that he's very difficult to deal with. He sets up a lot of CC, and he can generate a lot of threat. But I do wonder with Origen's comp, given how much utility they have with the likes of Azir, Leona, and Jarvan, if AP may have been a better option.
I really think On Hit was a mistake in this game. How do you ever play a side lane when there's a Twisted Fate and a Rengar on the enemy team? It's an instant 1v2 out of nowhere. This becomes very, very difficult to do anything.
Kold will spot them with the sweeper. He knows there's a couple of people waiting there. Broxah and Bwipo realize they've been spotted and back away. So we talked a little bit about the inability perhaps for Alphari to play a side lane, but talk to me about what this Origen comp really wants to do overall then, because we've seen Fnatic getting these early picks and using their globals to their advantage.
Well, Snowball the Draven is one of the biggest things because right now there've been so much chaos happening towards the top side that I feel Kold has been, as you said, kind of dragged around the map trying to respond, and they haven't been able to set up actual plays onto this 2v2. Hylissang has no flash. Kold is ready though. Alphari has TP. Here it comes.
Solar Flare. Hylissang uses the charm, but already he's done. Patrik takes him out, and that may be the start of this snowball rolling.
And just as we talked about, this is exactly what we wanted to see from Origen. Try and get the Draven ahead. Huge shutdown gold picked up, and now Kold looking to look for a play onto Broxah.
That was a really quick repel straight onto the Scry as Blue and Broxah escapes.
Yeah, I mean, and just before that play, it felt like Fnatic had so much control over that bot side river, but Kold was able to come in through the fog, and by the time he had stepped over that ward inside that bush, there was just no time for Hylissang to get out. He did not have the flash and ended up paying for his life. Now Patrik should be able to go back to base, finish off the Bloodthirster, which is so pivotal, just staying in lane and taking very forward trades because you can back up and lifesteal it all back.
Here comes Bwipo.
Thrill of the hunt popped. Kold will spot him out. Eyes on him. Bwipo goes underneath the tower. Maybe a little bit deep, but Broxah was here, and the cleanse used by Nukeduck to escape the cocoon coming in.
Now, coming off the reset too, Mithy has path again towards this top side of the map. You see this so often after, the 10-minute mark when there is a play down on the bot side. You split map, the team that wins usually goes up and picks up this Herald, while Fnatic will be securing themselves the Drake.
More plates will be going into Alphari's back pocket, but Fnatic are committing to the bot side of the map. They've agreed to the trade. They'll walk away with their second Drake of the game, along with a bunch of plates. Now, the fortunate, or the bright side rather, for Origen is that while Fnatic are on the tower first, Origen, if they can pick up this Rift Herald, they may be able to secure first tower of the game, but this Herald is going down pretty slowly, so it looks like Fnatic will walk away with first tower blood.
Using Bwipo down towards this bottom side, very easy for them to take the first tower blood. They'll get it 12 minutes in. Rift Herald will go to Origen though, and they will look to use that perhaps up towards the top side. May want to break this tower, could save it for a while and then look to use it mid.
Yeah, Fnatic are still pushing down on that bottom side too. They might be able to get this tower. It's going down very, very quickly with the attack speed steroid on that Elise, and Origen are slow to respond.
The biggest thing is that Origen had a significantly less time than Fnatic did, because killing the Drake into the bot lane that Fnatic already got to first, this just meant that Origen had much less time to work with, and because they didn't answer Fnatic, they get themselves 2 towers.
Oh, Bwipo dealt too greedily and too deep. He flashes away. Alphari still on the chase, looking for the stun. Will land the mark of the storm, but here comes Broxah. Teleport in by Fnatic as well, but maybe Nemesis has overstepped because Mithy was there waiting, didn't want to pop the solar flare.
Yeah, Fnatic still were matching in numbers though, so Origen not willing to commit on towards that play, and Fnatic instead just going to take full control over this bot side jungle. Now a play in the mid.
Nukeduck can just dodge away, uses the stopwatch to dodge away from Hylissang, who tanks up a couple of tower shots and goes down to a 3rd HP. Very squishy on the Rakan. Interestingly, going towards a Chalice of Harmony there, probably towards Mikhail's on Rakan first item.
I quite like the play from Fnatic, in all honesty, because you could see that they knew where everyone was on Origen. 3 members were bot, the Draven was top, and they could actually set up a burst combo onto a Nukeduck in the mid. He didn't have his cleanse available as well, due to Bwipo roaming down earlier on and forcing that summon spell out from him. what they didn't respect was the stopwatch. Fortunately for them, they had so much mobility in their kit that they could just dive under and then get out with relative safety. So I like the proactivity from Fnatic. Right now, they control a lot more of the map. You can see that they've sprinkled wards over the entrances to Origen's jungle, which is giving Origen fewer options to actually control the river right now.
Kold jumped on here by Hylissang. We'll just be able to EQ away. That Rift Herald, now that the plates have fallen off the towers, isn't quite as impactful, but the Solar Flare will land here on towards Hylissang. The chase is coming in for Patrik. Hylissang ticking away. Alphari has the flank position. Doesn't have the slicing master, but Bwipo might be caught out, saving up that cleanse away. We'll use it as soon as the Mark of the Storm hits. Cocoon coming in from Broxah as well. And it feels like people are just joining these fights one by one.
Yeah, but not willing to fully commit on towards any play just yet. You can see the turret play money going in favor of Origen in this game. Looks like Fnatic, some of those plates that they got were not in range to actually pick up the gold off of those. So that's why the gold's still relatively close, even though Fnatic led in terms of kills earlier on.
Oh, my mistake. I actually thought that they used the Herald top lane to help secure those plates, but that's what they decided that, you know what, we can't do much towards the bot side, so we'll save it for mid. And if they get this tower, it makes invading the enemy jungle that much easier.
Definitely does. Hylissang stunned up with the Mark of the Storm, but the tower won't quite fall. Broxah, Rekkles, and Hylissang able to defend. Nemesis on his way. Bwipo was looking to see if he could get in with the Thrill of the Hunt. Hasn't popped it yet, but was working his way up through the river. And there's about 1,000 gold lead at the 15-minute mark here for Fnatic. A strong early game from them. Origen, though, do have some powerhouses on their team if they can keep getting these items under their belts.
Right, I think Origen have a lot of tools to try and group up and force fights, you know, with the Leona and the likes of the Jarvan. Whereas Fnatic, their way to actually start things off is a little bit more ambiguous. I think their best tools are picking off people in side lanes, as you mentioned, the Rengar and the Twisted Fate, but also just catching Origen in transition. You know, if they can control parts of the jungle, they can instantly jump on top of you and catch you out while you're by yourself.
It's funny because the last time that these two teams met, that was how Fnatic played as well. They had the Shen and they had the Rakan roaming to these side lanes and looking for picks. And the moment you show up, 3 members from Fnatic are suddenly there, they find that kill, and they turn it into another advantage. Meanwhile, Origen, I feel, are looking to group a lot more. And this is why we brought into question how this AD Kennen will perform in these 5v5 scenarios.
Nukeduck able to shuffle away there from the Cocoon, fast on his trigger finger, as you say. Looks like we're having a bit of grouping up as the Destiny comes out. Mithy has the flash, will have to burn it straight away, and that's a engage tool away from the Leona. Bwipo still with the Thrill of the Hunt, not going to find his mark.
But that's exactly
he will! Straight onto Patrik, the savagery, is it enough? Leona gets the Solar Flare down, and Patrik's still alive. Kold gets out of the fight as well, and Fnatic now running away as Nukeduck joined the fray. But Fnatic will survive, and OG don't lose a man.
Yeah, OG have to lose 3 flashes though, so Fnatic do still come out on top, and this is ultimately how they want to play their comp. If they can push out mid first and have the collapse on a side lane, they can just instantly turn on a dime whether or not they want to make that play top or instantly backpedal and go for mid.
What we got to see here was a great example of what Fnatic like to do in the mid game, which is they have a great awareness of the windows that they have to try and force fights, or just plays in general. They had a push up top, they knew that Kennen was too late to the tower bot side, and there was a period of time with which they could force a play without being punished. The greed came in when Bwipo still decided to engage after the flash was gone from Mithy. They couldn't then afford to make that play, because what ends up happening is now Alphari has reached the tower. Now the Kennen is set up in a position where they can actually trade, and they don't find a kill. Fortunately for them, there was still a wave set up top, so they could end up trading towers 1 for 1. But if they'd overcommitted too much, that could have ended in disaster for Fnatic.
Yeah, and a side effect of this play with Origen having more control around the bottom side of the map is that they will be the first ones to set up around this Ocean Drake. You know, they can pick up the Scuttle Crab for themselves. They have 4 members in this area as well. And with Bwipo going for a later reset, Origen have this big window to start it up.
Look at the teleports as well. Alphari's is available. The 3 on the side of Fnatic are not up for grabs. So Fnatic, after their reset, will be forced to just disengage for the time being. They'll just have a couple people catching waves, and Bwipo, his ultimate is coming up soon as Hylissang face checks.
Chased in with the Zenith player there, will be able to get away. Mithy maybe looking for the chase, the Solar Flare, miles wide. Mithy misses, and Fnatic get out. Now the Thrill of the Hunt was popped by Bwipo. He will just use that to get up towards the top lane, I believe, hiding around the corner, but I don't think there's any engaged target for him as all of Origen have backed away underneath their tower.
So now we're approaching the 20-minute mark. Bwipo is inside his ultimate, but now that's going to be unavailable to him. No pick found. But as we approach the 20-minute mark, the map has now opened up significantly. And something that Ender's talked a lot about with Fnatic's composition is that they want to look for picks. They want to look to attack the side lane, utilize the mobility of the Rengar, have the Hylissang, have the Rakan set up the plays, and try and attack people when they're either in transition to try and pressure an objective, or just when they're slightly overextended. And look who they have their eyes on right now.
Destiny pop, Nukeduck stunned up, cleanses away. Hylissang unable to find the full engage, but Nukeduck did have to use his summoner.
And these are the kind of plays we want to be seeing from Fnatic. And look at how they convert it into a red buff, into deep vision. And trying to punish Origen as they clear out these side waves is the best way in order to utilize Fnatic's comp.
Exactly, and the best part about it for Fnatic is that if they don't make a play, Origen still have to respect them. Alphari wasn't pushing that wave until that play had been started up by Fnatic down bottom lane. He'd been sitting in a bush watching CS go down that he couldn't clear because he wasn't willing to step up without the knowledge of Fnatic's team.
So what do you do if you're Origen in this situation? It kind of feels like a catch-22 where you have to respect Fnatic, but if you do, then they can catch you out.
You have to be willing to sacrifice something, and a large part of that is a wave on one of the side lanes. So if we take this situation right now where you can see Twisted Fate in the bot lane is pushing up this wave, let's say that Baron would be the objective, Origen would have to sacrifice this wave and run the risk of losing their bot tower in order to force a fight around something like a Baron. And unfortunately, because they're not the ones in control, they don't always get to guarantee the pressure, which is why they're the ones that will more than likely than not have to sacrifice something in order to find the fight that they want.
But they do have the ability to go on the offensive when they group up. Like we're seeing right now, 3 members around this middle lane while Fnatic are splitting up, you know, picking up CS top lane, getting some resets themselves. So these are the little windows that they can take advantage of. And if they can get strong enough vision control, especially around one of their side lanes, it gives them that added protection to try and allow Alphari to actually push forward in one of those sides.
Especially as they're getting towards these 2 completed items. Infinity Edge on its way there for Patrik, Alphari building up as well. On the other side, Trinity Force Rapid Fire Cannon on Nemesis is the AD Twisted Fate as we expected. And there's a Super Soaker Twin Shadows build coming out from Rekkles.
So have a look at this. Fnatic didn't actually send anyone to the bot side of the map. Instead, they had their eyes set on Nukeduck.
Nukeduck tries to shuffle away, but Hylissang's there for the chase. Flash away by Nukeduck. Nemesis still getting the autos in. Bwipo with the thrill of the hunt. The stun card locks in, and Fnatic find a kill.
You just can't go into a side lane against this Fnatic team, especially Azir, very vulnerable in these types of situations. Now, look where Broxah is as well. He wants to sit on this flank here. Fortunately for OG, they should be able to clear away this wave before it approaches the tower, though.
And the most frustrating thing, if you're an Origen fan watching that, was that Kennen had actually just started a slow push towards the bot side of the map and was already starting to group up with his team. And given that Fnatic were all around the top side, they could have actually created a 5v5 situation where they could have maybe converted it into a Baron. But instead, what happens is Nukeduck overpushes the top side of the map, he gets collapsed on by the Twisted Fate ultimate, and now it's Fnatic. They get to maintain control over top, set up the waves for the next play, and have a little bit more control overall.
And what a transformation for Fnatic. In this early game, they have looked much more like the Fnatic of old. Yesterday against Misfits, they struggled so much, but now perhaps Nemesis is overextended. Teleport coming in here by Bwipo as they look for the fight. Mithy's up towards the top side, but the gold card locked in means Alphari can't move for the moment. Mithy's here to join, slicing Maelstrom. They're just going to go straight onto Nemesis. He tries to flash away, but you can't get out of the storm. And now Bwipo straight into the waiting arms of the rest of Origen. 2 quick kills for OG, and maybe they'll turn straight to Baron.
And it's Origen that go on the offensive. They're the team that look for the pick, and it all comes off the back of Alphari's push in the bot lane. They knew someone from Fnatic would be forced to answer. They catch Nemesis off guard. Now they're starting the Baron.
And by knocking out both soul laners of Fnatic, their damage is so low, now they turn!
Hylissang there, the Pelko's out by Broxah, but there's no way for him to get out. He flashes, Solar Flare, but the chase in by Nukeduck shut down on the enemy jungler, and now Origen have a much easier path towards this objective.
With Broxah down, there's no threat of the steal. They turn back almost immediately. Mithy low on HP, so he's going to go ahead and sit on this flank here. Hylissang and Rekkles get too close to the pit. They're going to be able to turn and fight again.
Teleport still up for Nemesis, though, and he's going to join this fight. He has to do something huge for Fnatic here. Otherwise, the game might slip away from their fingers. Destiny out. Nemesis going in. Already the Baron so low. It's
what?
Who else would do it but Rekkles? It doesn't matter what he picks, he'll take it away. And Fnatic find the steal, they find the kills, and they find their avenue into this game.
You have got to be kidding me. Fnatic should have lost that Baron by all means, but Rekkles comes up clutch. In that moment, they steal the Baron, and now they have the push on mid.
Kold did not have his smite available during the Baron take. They go for the gamble, and the AoE from the Karma Q ends up securing it. What a massive blunder from Origen.
What a moment from Fnatic, though. There's not many moments you can stand up and be counted just like that, and Rekkles came in clutch. Origen messed up, but because of it, Fnatic can now have a 4,000 gold lead, have Baron, I believe, on all 5 members, and they can look to push in all 3 lanes.
Exactly. Fnatic have them right where they want them. 1-3-1, just play this style. Now, look at Fnatic. Rekkles coming in on the bottom side. Remember, Kold does not have Smite himself, so Rekkles, just from the outside of the pit with the empowered Mantra Q, snags that one away.
And notice how Nemesis landed the stun onto Mithy, so he couldn't body block either. That means that there was a clear avenue for the Q to get into the pit and actually secure that one away. You're right, Medic. 5 members of Fnatic got that Baron, and devastation for the side of Origen. They found such a good pick onto Nemesis. With this Baron buff, they could have utilized the power of their comp. They could have started grouping and forcing, and now that they've lost it, they're on the defense. They're the ones that now have to be careful as Fnatic look to regain full control.
Exactly. Fnatic are looking to set up all 3 lanes right now. Broxah going up top side, try and push this one forward. Again, Fnatic looked shaky in their game yesterday against Misfits, losing to the brand new squad. They look much more in control here after Rekkles came off with a huge Baron steal.
Origen is staring down a 3-game losing streak. Struggling at the moment. We thought maybe signs of life would come back in this game, but Fnatic have quashed them, have quelled any chance of Origen managing to secure a victory here. Of course, Fnatic do have to do their due diligence. They have to push in all 3 lanes. They have to use this Baron buff. They only have a minute remaining on it, but because of it, they've got 4,500 extra gold.
Fnatic playing around their side lanes very smart at the moment. Bwipo can push up forward because the rest of his team is there, while his Nemesis was waiting. There was a window where he could be forced on towards, but now Fnatic, they have the push up top lane to continue to chip away at these towers.
Now, remember that Fnatic don't have an AD carry, so their ability
They have AD Twisted Fate. That like
Yes.
gives Infinity a rapid fire cannon. That's as AD carries you can
He
get.
is not with the rest of the team right now, which means that it's a lot harder to siege, especially against the likes of an Azir. If they overstep, he can just go in, throw the ultimate down, catch you off guard. So Fnatic do have to be quite patient, and that's also why finding picks are very important. So what Fnatic are largely doing right now is getting very deep vision. I would imagine that the next big objective they'll look to play around is the respawn of the Baron, because on this push, I don't expect them to be able to convert it into very much. So they're going to use this time, get deeper vision, so that when they set up for the next Baron, it'll be a lot easier. And if they can get this tier 2, they'll just be the best case scenario for them.
Trying to eke out every little bit of advantage that they can get from this Baron buff. They won't quite be able to secure the T2 as Origen continue to defend. Nukeduck sitting on a Zhonya's and a Nash's Tooth now has a lot of damage on that Azir, but there's a lot of weight resting on his shoulders. Has had a good performance so far this game. This split has sometimes struggled. Bwipo popping on the hunt, looking for a mark, looking for his prey. Can't find it yet. But I'm sure he'll wait for another day to go in for that engage. Nemesis pushing down bot, and now Fnatic will break open that tier 2 in the top lane. Good stuff by them.
The Bwipo ultimate basically was just enough to zone Nukeduck away, but now OG going on the offensive.
Alphari with the slow, no way away for Nemesis. Patrik gets it in with a whirling death, and Origen find a pick. A little bit too late for them, but they stop Nemesis in that side lane.
Important cash in there for Patrik as well. Still no deaths here on this Draven, so all the money Origen can get is going to be absolutely critical for the squad, especially because now they've lost all their towers outside of their own base. This makes it so scary once Fnatic can go back to base and restock and push their vision down throughout the map, because again, Fnatic, if there aren't any towers for Origen to go and cower underneath, Fnatic can just instantly pop out on you the second Origen leave their base.
Patrik got 665 gold off the back of just the passive stacks that he was able to build up. So he goes back to base, he picks up an entire Zeal, and he completely closes the gold gap between him and Rekkles. So he's in a great position right now. The windows of opportunity for Origen to come back into this game are real. And the important thing to note here is that Fnatic had committed multiple members up towards the top side to secure that outer tower. And this was Nemesis overextending, not realizing that there wasn't enough pressure for Fnatic to answer if Origen send 2 members down towards bot.
And although it is the AD Kennen in the side lane, he can still shred through you pretty darn quickly with the Ginsus with the Blade of the Ruin King complete. He is a menace. We'll see if it works for Origen. So far, hasn't had the best of games, but now with the Twin Shadows coming out, Fnatic will spot the fact that Origen were waiting just in the wards. Hylissang jumps straight onto Kold. Broxah's there, has the cocoon. will connect. The rest of the chase may come in here from Fnatic, but Mithy says, okay, we'll go. Solar Flare comes out. Repel needs to come up from Broxah, but he goes golden for the second. Teleport coming from Alphari as well. Repel comes up, but what goes up must come down. The chase is on for Origen, but they can't quite find the connection. And now Bwipo coming in with the thrill of the hunt.
Bwipo's on the hunt, he wants Patrik!
Kick flashes away, he survives with 100 HP. Origen able to keep their AD carry alive, and now we'll see if Fnatic continue to push forward the Destiny out. Flash in by Rekkles, lands the Mantrid Inspire, and now Nemesis down towards the bottom side.
Here's Nemesis on the flank, he gets jumped on by Kold, but he turns it around for the kill. Patrik so low, they're trying to run away, but Fnatic want them all.
There's no escape from Fnatic, they'll chase you down forever and a day. The gold card still locks in, and Nemesis is not done with Alphari yet. Rekkles takes the shutdown, Fnatic take 4, and their eyes are on the Baron.
And Origen fall apart as Fnatic find 4 members of Origen. Disaster strikes. It looks like Broxah is caught out of position. It looks like Origen have found a crucial pick, but Fnatic find the turnaround. And with these death times with the Baron dropping, they may look to end the game, or they may just walk away with an inhibitor.
I mean, Fnatic just get everything. They split up after that team fight, so it's the inhibitor on top of the 2-man Baron, on top of, look at this, Nemesis and Hylissang are running back so they can pick up this Mountain Drake as well. The entire map now belongs to Fnatic, and for the next 3.5 minutes, they have this Baron buff, and the siege will be deadly.
This was not how I was expecting Fnatic to utilize the next few minutes. They wanted to play on the defense. They wanted to wait for this next Baron to spawn, try and catch Origen off guard. But the way in which they played that 5 versus 5, it was like grouped up, Origen looked strong. But then the moment they were on the escape, it was like Fnatic. It was like you're running away from a monster in the jungle and you know that it's chasing you, but you don't know where it's going to come from. And before you know it, there are 5 monsters that all come out at you from every angle, and Origen, there's nothing that they can do.
Destiny using the top lane as Nemesis tries to get onto Nukeduck, who tries to shuffle him away, but Nemesis just chasing him down. 2-level advantage. Look at the damage that comes out from TF. Oh! Maybe thought he needed to back away because Patrik was on his way. Supermin is pushing in the mid lane here for Fnatic. 30 minutes in, they are 8,000 gold ahead in the ascendancy in this game. And it's all done but the Nexus falling here for Fnatic.
Fnatic so strong coming into this next siege. Look at Nemesis' itemization. Going to be using that Ginsu to get multiple stacks off the E, doing so much damage on this on-hit Twisted Fate build. Level 18 now on the champion, the highest level in the game. No one can match him in a side lane.
No, they certainly cannot. Fnatic look extremely strong right now. They're utilizing the power of the super minions in the mid lane with Bwipo just waiting. Every time his ultimate is off cooldown, he uses it again. He threatens someone with it. The cooldown is so extremely low that he's just creating this zone tool, forcing Origen to play more defensively. But Origen now looking for a fight.
Can't find their connection though. Origen unable to find their mark.
Origen really needed to find a play right there because right now Fnatic are split 2-1-2 on the map. Bwipo though on this rotation down bottom lane.
Hylissang rooted up, the solar flare comes down and Hylissang jumps back in onto Mithy. He cleanses it away, but Hylissang's still alive. Now Kold coming down towards this bottom lane. Nemesis pushing up top. Broxah in the mid lane. Fnatic splitting up the map once again.
Time is running out for Origen here. The wave is building up for Nemesis in the top side. Bwipo still with the on the hunt activated. They're going to be able to jump forward and hit this tower one more time. And Origen, they're out of time.
Origen are being split across their base right now. Fnatic, though, they still have a minute left on the Baron, yet to actually take another tower. And this ties back into what we were saying. Origen have a lot of wave clear at their disposal. And Fnatic, unless they're able to find a pick, I think it's extremely difficult for them to successfully set up a siege because there's still a lot of damage on the side of Origen. Ending this game is not as straightforward as just running into the enemy base and forcing them back. Origen can still hold the line, and if they can delay enough time for this Baron buff to disappear, then maybe they still have a chance back into this.
I mean, the play I want to see them make is to use this Twisted Fate ultimate to turn a top lane siege into a bottom lane siege, but right now they're grouping up 3 people topside. Here it comes!
You called it, Ender, they do it straight away. Bwipo there with Nemesis and Rekkles. And they will take the tower, top lane to bot lane. Meanwhile, they're still pushing in top. As Kold goes in with the Cataclysm, the tower goes down. Broxah locked up. Alphari here, Patrik coming in on his way as well. Nemesis is pushing down towards the bottom side. The charm comes out, slicing Maelstrom from Alphari, but he can't get there in time. Broxah is locked up for the moment, but he goes golden. But look at the bottom lane, the push keeps coming from Fnatic. They're not done, and now Hylissang is keeping them alive. Fnatic take the inhibitors down towards the bottom side, and Alphari has to limp away. Bwipo's on his way with the chase. He's going in with the thrill of the hunt, and now he's gonna get that kill. It's an easy enough one for him. Kold goes down to Broxah. Bwipo gonna blast cone in and then use the bush. Hello, my friend. Top lane to top lane. He says goodbye. And Origen Origen might not have a hope left in this game.
Fnatic might not have the Baron buff, but they have all 3 inhibitors now. The minion waves are crashing in simultaneously. All they need to do is knock down these 2 more towers. Still 40 seconds on Alphari, 20 onto Kold. This is the final push.
Patrik, Nukeduck, and Mithy, the final stand. The hot gates for Origen here as Fnatic wait for the super minions to come in. It's a brief pause as the waves are cleared away, but you have to think in just a couple of seconds' time, Fnatic are going to be knocking on those Nexus towers once again. Origen are going to have to find an answer, something miraculous, something just absolutely incredible if they're going to defend this. But Nemesis pushing in, look at the damage on the tower. That Nexus tower's already almost down. Kold back up. Fnatic in a 5v4. Will they take the fight? The Nexus tower goes down, and now Fnatic can just focus the top one. Easy enough for them. Kold going in, he flashes in. The stun lock. Have they got it? The solar flare. They take one. Shuffled away. Patrik and Nukeduck still alive on the back line. And now Fnatic maybe have to limp away, but no, they take one, the Destiny coming out. Oh, Nemesis goes straight out the back line, Rekkles takes the kill, and it's easy enough for Fnatic. A 1-for-1 trade, Alphari jumping in, can't quite take down Broxah. Rekkles getting chased down as he picks up a double kill, but he pops the stopwatch, and he's alive for the moment.
Rekkles is still running away, kiting away, uses the flash to escape from this team fight. It is so close with Origen's backs against the wall. The inhib respawn does come through, but Origen have virtually nothing left in their base.
Origen successfully hold the line. No Patrik now in a 1v1 against Bwipo.
Oh, he gets it. The final auto attack's enough, but Broxah's here. Won't go in, won't sink the fangs down into that juicy Draven. And now the inhibitor has respawned in the mid lane. 3 minutes on top, 3 minutes on bot. Origen have held the line for the moment, but it feels like a light breeze will knock over their base.
You catch your breath, Medic, while we cover the action for now. Infernal Drake is going to be spawning. This means that the Elder will be delayed. That means that Origen have enough time to potentially contest the Baron buff. They will wait for their inhibitors to respawn. They are still scaling strongly into the late game. But let's look back at how they hold this defensive. Mainly just keep your eyes on what Patrik is doing, because he's the primary damage dealer in this situation. He cleanses out immediately, and he's able to just rip through the support. Then a great Azir wall keeps them alive as they're able to defend for Patrik.
Then Nemesis tries to come in on the back end of this fight here. He ends up getting the kill, helping out picking that one on towards Mithy, and it's very neutral overall. 3 for 2 in favor of Fnatic at the end, but Fnatic are immediately back on towards the Baron, and Origen, it's so hard to try and step forward to contest this.
Yeah, they can't even do it. Fnatic get the Baron. Whirling Death did come in, but it's another Baron across towards Fnatic. 3.5 minutes. Once again, Origen have to find a way to defend. It's going to be the hardest task they've had this split, you have to feel.
Well, the bright side is Patrik is now level 17. He has no summoner spells available to him, but he's got the QSS available. He's pretty much full build outside of the control wards that are taking up space for the time being. Saying that, Rekkles yet to die so far in this game. 4-0 and 6, nearly a fully stacked Mejai's, and you gotta respect that Fnatic do have a lot of poke. The rapid fire cannon on the Twisted Fate means that he has the stun setup into the follow-ups chain CC from the rest of the team, so OG are basically in a difficult situation, but they've held the line so far.
With 2 inhibitors down, with 1 Nexus turret gone, yes, this is very, very hard for them. Bwipo popping his ultimate right now. They need to be able to use their globals and their surprise attacks, try and create a play on towards this inhibitor, perhaps. You know, they have to get this push in the side lane, but this is tower placed by Nukeduck. It's gonna delay it.
Fnatic with 3 men strong in the mid lane, looking for that inhibitor. Tower falls down towards the bottom side, and now with super minions pushing in, Origen have 3 lanes to defend. Fnatic can group up, just look for that inhib. Should be an easy enough take for them. Hylissang's the one on the front line, can always dash back, of course, so they will take the inhibitor in mid, and Fnatic can now just play the waiting game. Still a minute left on both those side lane inhibitors.
The final stand for Origen will be around their final Nexus turret. They want their best ideal situation of a team fight is when Fnatic run into them as 5 members, when Fnatic cannot force a numbers advantage, when they have the Azir Emperor's Divide to try and buy spice for Patrik to carry from the backline. They don't need to initiate any team fights. They've lost so much already, they literally must just hold their ground and not allow Fnatic forward.
I'm just keeping my eyes on Patrik in this late game. We haven't really talked about it at all this game, but he is running the Aftershock, and proccing that this late into the game gives you those extra defensive stats that'll be very valuable trying to survive so much of the pick potential that we're looking to execute.
Yeah, it's also the freest thing ever. When you see a Rengar jumping at you, instantly toss out your E's, so you get that stand aside and those resistances. Speaking of which, Bwipo once again just spamming this off of cooldown because it's such a low CD.
Cocoon doesn't quite hit there. Broxah with the Banshee down to Mithy. Who needs to kill an AD carry when you can just burst out a Leona? But here comes a Cataclysm and Patrik Patrik is still alive. Bwipo goes down. Inhibitors respawn in the bottom lane as the rest of Fnatic push in the mid.
Look at the base.
Look at the base. Look at the base. Nukeduck having to try and defend the Nexus tower. You can't defend against it. And here comes Alphari with the slicing master. Patrik down towards the bottom side trying to fight against Rekkles and Broxah. Hylissang jumps out. Patrik still alive. Look at the damage he's doing. Look at the healing. Patrik manages to win a 2v1. And Fnatic still unable to find this Nexus kill.
Origen continue to hold on, but not for lack of Fnatic trying here. They continue to stay in the base even after losing 2 members. They want this last inhibitor.
Patrik is the carry right now for Origen. He and Alphari are doing everything in their power to defend. Nukeduck, he's doing what he can, but basically at this point in the game, he's just a wall. And you saw how he was basically like, listen, Nemesis, you stay away from my Nexus. And he was doing everything in his power to just deny him from ending the game.
So look at this one more time. Again, it's an instant assassination on towards Bwipo, but then Origen make the call. They say we have to fight around Patrik. This is a 2v2 for now. So Patrik gets all this damage out. They get the kill on towards Bwipo, but then Broxah buys a lot of time here while the rest of Fnatic push for the Nexus.
And look at the awareness of Nukeduck here. He's just hanging around Nemesis. He wants to make sure that he doesn't have access to the Nexus because of how quickly he will end this game. So he's like, look, just zone them away, let Patrik do his thing, and he does exactly that. Just rips through 2 members of Fnatic, but it ends up being a 2-for-2 trade overall.
Yeah, and you can see how quickly the game goes from Fnatic splitting up and then instantly singling out individual targets so they have the numbers advantage to all of a sudden Origen in their base when they have nowhere to go, they can force the fights where they have the lead.
This is where the difficult part of the game really starts, though, for Origen. You have no Nexus towers.
This is the difficult part!
And you have a Destiny. It is so difficult to defend against this, because how do you ever leave your base? As soon as you do, they jump in behind you.
It's kind of like a tower defense, you know? Every level you go up, it gets harder.
Yeah.
Except they have no towers.
Yeah, right? So they're at level 10 right now, and if they're able to overcome this, maybe that's just enough to be able to turn this game around. But the Elder Dragon is now alive. 5 are in the back pocket of Fnatic. Kold is looking for a steal.
Patrik able to survive, still alive. Nemesis coming in and hits the gold card, though. And now Kold will pay for the defense of his AD carry with his life, because Hylissang is here on the backside. Fnatic are gonna take the Elder. Fnatic are gonna take it all.
Fnatic should get everything. This is the last stand. Nukeduck gets stunned up, gets bursted out so low.
The Ignite ticking on Nukeduck. He jumps in, but he's already done. The teleport coming in from Bwipo here. Fnatic, they knocked on the door for ages. They kept being repelled by Origen, but in the end, there is nothing that can stop the Orange Tide oncoming. It is Fnatic, it is Europe, and this is the League of Legends that we love to see.
Fnatic take the big win over Origen. Origen, they knew they couldn't afford to give away that Elder Drake. The only reason why they were winning those fights was because they were able to group up. But if Fnatic secured it, that was going to be enough of a damage buff that Origen probably would not have been able to hold off one more time. But then Fnatic don't even commit to the Elder. They look for the pick instead. They read the play. And the use of Bwipo's Rengar ultimate, the Nemesis Twisted Fate ultimate, like there was a triple flank there coming in from Fnatic to find those crucial picks and ultimately find the win.
Yeah, because this is not an easy composition to execute on. There's not a clear defined goal when you get a team fight here for Fnatic. It's all about knowing and understanding how to use the globals, how to use these map traversing abilities to find these perfect flanks, to find the fights that go your way. Fnatic did it for 30 minutes. And then once they had gotten into the base of Origen, they stumbled. They couldn't quite finish out. Each push they got more and more and more, but it wasn't enough to find the final fight until they were able to catch out OG in their jungle.
And at times it felt like OG were not only fighting for the win in the game, they were fighting for a win in the split as well. A 3-game losing streak now for them. They are falling down the standings, tumbling after being our 2nd place team in spring. Something needs to change for this team if they're gonna rise back up.
It's definitely been a tough split for Origen. At first, many fans put it down to a slow start. You know, we as analysts are still giving them a lot of confidence. We said that, you know, they'll pick things up, they'll clean things up, but it feels like that week after week, we're still seeing Origen struggle. And it's difficult to pinpoint exactly what their issues are. It feels like that maybe they're trying new things. Maybe they have different approaches to how to play the game, but right now what we're seeing is a not unified Origen, an Origen that cannot find some consistency, but a Fnatic that relies on a style that is very effective, a team that looks for constant picks around the map. We get to see much more early game impact from Broxah, successfully playing around Bwipo, and ultimately Fnatic finding a very important and much needed win to keep that battle for the top 2 alive.
Yeah, great win for them. They are now sitting at 9 and 3. Origen fall to 5 and 7 down the standings. In a few minutes, we will have Xerxes and Duke from Splice on PGL to talk about that battle for the top 2.
Also where Ender's gone.
Yeah, he's left. We thought he just didn't do that well, so we're like, that off the desk, please. Be sure to stay tuned for that. It's going to be great, I am sure, with Xscoundrel hosting. He's done such a good job this weekend. I do want to talk a little bit more about the 2 sides of Fnatic that we see, though, because this game, Broxah had really good early pathing. He was able to set them up for success, but we have seen them really falter at times as well.
Well, I feel like that this game could have been very different, right? That Baron steal was huge from the side of Fnatic, and I think that it's important to recognize that this was not the highest quality of League of Legends. It was very exciting, it was very entertaining, and we got to saw some really great outplays, and we saw some fantastic stuff. But the fact is, Fnatic did often overstep in their side lanes. We saw Nemesis dying in a side lane quite a few times when he didn't have pressure with the rest of his team. But for the side of OG, they just made one too many blunders. Like, that Baron could have won them the game. If they secure that, then the game is very different. And, you know, you kind of have to evaluate the game and say, well, props to Origen, because there was a moment where they saw a mistake, a window where they could attack Fnatic. They do so successfully, and if they convert that into a Baron, then now we're praising Origen. We're talking about how this game is all about Origen find that window and snowball it. So I think it's definitely a game worth going back and evaluating and see where these teams stack up.
Do a VOD review.
But what we can say for sure is that there are clear strengths and clear weaknesses for both teams, and all we can hope for is that both teams can work on these issues, identify them as we move closer to playoffs.
Well, we'll see if they can do it, but you guys can actually get involved with Key Player of the Game voting at lolesports on Twitter. Broxah, Rekkles, and Hylissang are your options. I think all 3 of them have a good way, a good option, a good choice.
I mean, like, so I feel like Rekkles is going to get it because he
be honest, didn't ask you, Vedius. Didn't ask you for once.
Well, I didn't say I said he was going to get it. I didn't want to say give it to Rekkles. I said I think he's going to get it because he hasn't died once this game. He had 25 stacks on his Mejos.
And he stole the Baron.
And he also stole the Baron, which ultimately did win the game for Fnatic. So I can't really be angry at the fans if they vote for that.
Well, we'll find out if Bwipo agrees with you. He's standing by for an interview with the Law.
Thank you, guys. Bwipo, not gonna lie here, when I saw the lock-in Rengar in the end, I was like, okay, bad memories from last time. So how was it different, and is this pick actually good?
I think it's a champion that deals physical damage that can deal with ranged champions, which is not something that was common in the meta. I feel like Kennen, Nico, these type of top lane champions, ranged champions that harass you, are hard to deal with conventional bruisers and most physical damage champions. So the only way you could get physical damage in your draft was by also picking one of those ranged champions to match them. So I decided to do some soul searching, and guess what? I found Rengar. Honestly, it's a hit or miss champion. He's feast or famine. It's the way he plays. So today wasn't really even a hit, to be honest with you. I don't feel like I was a leading factor in why we won, but I got a few kills here and there that made it a little easier, as well as the fact that I put a lot of pressure on the enemy team. Azir has to build Hourglass, Ninja Tabai, PD. Like, there's a lot of itemization that you have to aim towards the Rengar, which is why I think that having a champion like this is much akin to Skarner, in the sense that if you don't itemize specifically for Rengar, he'll remove you from the game in his own way.
And that worked out well for you guys. I have a question about this matchup. This was match of the week here in the LEC. But considering the shape OG had lately and the fact that you've been a bit underperforming also, what is the meaning of this victory, standing-wise?
It's just nice to have a win on the board. Again, the goal is top 2. You want to make it into that playoff seed. You want to get the final seed. I'm not sure what to call it, but you get the idea, right? So you're always gunning for first place. Obviously, next week will dictate whether or not we actually still have a shot at getting first place by playing against G2. So depending on the outcome of that game, it will be decided whether or not you can still go for the first place spot, or you're going to have to settle for second.
We'll get to this one later, because I have a question about G2. But how would you rate your performances lately?
Not very good.
A bit more about that. What has been going wrong?
Honestly, it's just, I feel like it's been a tough period for our team. I feel like we're reestablishing how we want to play the game, and there's a lot of differing opinions on the team. So we're just trying to get through it and find what works for us.
I'm wondering though, because some teams have been shining lately and some have been underperforming. So what do you think about the state of the competition as a whole compared to Spring Split?
I feel like it was similar in the sense that at the start of the split, there were some teams up and coming, very strong, and then near the end of it, it dwindles down, and the competition gets a little bit worse. Hard to say. Okay. I think in general, the general level of play is fine.
All right.
Some really low quality games, and we're part of that. So I feel like I can't really,
Dude, you're
talk
always
too much.
too hard on yourself. Like, it's
No,
insane.
I just think that the last 2 weeks we've played some really low quality games, and fortunately for us, it was 2-2. But this game, for example, could have easily been a loss.
Okay. Are you confident about the rest of the splits?
Absolutely. I think that if we play our own game, I'm fully confident we can win against any team. It's just a matter that right now I feel like we're having a hard time being proactive in our own way and just playing the game the way we want to and just playing the game.
I hope you'll get to fix that before next week. And as you were mentioning, you will be playing against G2. I tweeted something earlier today. I wonder how can teams prepare against G2 when they look something like any top and nobody expects it. So how will you prepare against this team?
Well, I'm not too scared about any top, I'll give you that much. But I think it's just a matter of, like I said, you search into your own strengths, you rely on what you're good at, and you're going to be fine. I think that this is the one thing I learned in all the experience I have, which is not the most, but still. Went to World Finals, I guess, and that was also off the fact of that thought. If I focus on my own strengths and I emphasize that I can do this and this for my team, and this is what our team is good at, we're going to make it far. And I think this is what G2 does really well, right? Their strength is picking all these random champions, having a big champion pool, being able to pick 3 winning lines based off of, a random X pick. And that's why they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the world, in my opinion. And I think that if we are willing to do the same, focus on our strengths rather than just looking at every other team, we're going to make it far. So I'm just looking forward to finding Fnatic again.
That's the best way to see things. Thank you very much, Bwipo, on that.
You're welcome.
And to wrap up this week, we're going to send it over to PGL. Take it away, guys.